caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right guys, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
WFAT. When your team is losing and you want to fight, WFAT will make you feel alright. When your dreams of glory have come to an end, WFAT will be your greatest friend. WFAT, from sea to shining sea, our callers are doing our jobs for free at WFAT.
It's aggressive saxophone. Gives off a lot of 80s.
More like sexy phone.
You feel like that's sexy? You're feeling the sexy in that saxophone? It's aggressively sports radio, and this is a glorious day in New York when you can have the feeding frenzy around a team that's disintegrating. I'm going to get into some of the details that happened with the Mets in a second, welcoming in Charlotte Wilder and Amin Al-Hassan from Oddball today. We will get to all of their areas of expertise in a moment, but I do want to celebrate what I think is the greatest day for Mets content since a season that involved the Mets many years ago having the highest payroll in baseball, and a book was written about them, The Worst Team Money Could Buy. And I believe some of the scandals involved either Brett Saberhagen or David Cohn throwing bleach at reporters.
It was bleach in a water gun sprayed at reporters by Brett Saberhagen.
Thank you, Brett Saberhagen. And also Vince Coleman, I believe, threw an explosive at fans. They were calling it a firecracker, but it was not a firecracker. It was like closer to C4 than it was a firecracker.
Those are the days.
Seems bad.
According to the LA Times, it was a device similar to an M100 that was about 7/8 of an inch in diameter, and it injured 3, including a 2-year-old.
How did he get that onto the... Did he throw
No,
from
it wasn't
the
on
field?
the field. No. It was an incident off the field. But basically, he threw a stick of dynamite at a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, just since
in the direction of, not at. I don't think the 2-year-old was the target, to be fair.
Okay, thank you.
And there's a thin line between explosive and firework, right?
True. Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Levitard Show. Is there a thin line between firecracker and explosive? Because it was reported as a firecracker, but I remember it as an explosive.
What is a firecracker, really?
It's an explosive.
Okay.
It is like there is no thin line, right?
What is it for? Is it a celebratory?
JPP lost fingers not over explosives, over firecrackers.
That's correct.
You put in a firecracker together, it's going to be a large explosive.
I think one of the Kennedys did too. I don't know.
Did he?
Charlotte, not an excellent contribution if you don't know that and don't have anything to follow it either.
Google it.
You just had a random thought. You can keep some of those to yourselves.
Straight Kennedy. You're like,
sorry, I'm giving you content, Dan.
No, I'd like the content. I'd just like it confirmed and you to have more of it once you throw it out there and then immediately retreat because you don't have confidence in what you've just said.
Well, I'll work on it.
We're making conversation.
There's a thin line between fact and fiction, Dan.
Thank you, Billy.
You don't want to start doing that, Charlotte. That is the wrong ally for you to choose. You will see everything explode in your face one day, and he will run away howling.
Firecracker or explosive?
I thought it was
one of those New Year's Eve. You know, you pull them apart and they explode.
What is that?
The party favor.
The poppers?
Yeah.
But they don't make that noise. They just
Hold
go.
on. Yeah, they don't. First of all, they don't make that noise.
Okay, maybe you guys are using the wrong
That's
party
not an
favor.
explosive. A party favor.
It explodes.
Hold on. Dan is saying this from a place of privilege because for years you wielded that weapon. towards other people. You never got shot with that thing, did you?
What thing?
On highly questionable.
Oh, the confetti popper.
Yeah, you were out here just gunning people down.
Well, I never shot it at anyone.
That's not true.
In the direction of, Dan.
Yeah, there you go. Just like my man Vince Coleman.
But wait a minute. The confetti popper, actually, it's also not an explosive, but the confetti popper had some kick to it. Is the party favor what she's describing doesn't sound like it has any explosive in it.
Well, if something explodes out of something.
I mean, that's...
I tend to agree. If it explodes, it's an explosive.
But you're not a good ally for
a
her to have.
balloon's an explosive.
Yes, thank you, Billy.
No, it is not an
And
explosive.
if it explodes...
No.
Balloon
Yeah.
pops. It doesn't explode.
No, an explosive has to have gunpowder.
A bottle of seltzer, when you open it.
No,
Explosive.
No, there has to be gunpowder
No,
involved.
if you put Tums in it or whatever, and it
Mentos and Diet Coke.
yeah, explosive.
That's pretty close, actually,
Yeah.
to an explosive. But again,
Mentos doesn't
Nope.
have gunpowder, Dan.
no sale.
Well,
An explosive, technically, according to the definition, is a substance which can be made to explode.
What?
So
There
there
it
doesn't
is.
have to be gunpowder involved, but I'll tell you that Vince Coleman lit a small green canister after getting out of a truck that was being driven by Eric Davis with Bobby Bonilla in it, around about 200 to 300 fans, and then claimed that he didn't know anyone got hurt in the explosion. But I believe Brett Saberhagen as well, and if I have this correct, the week before, or rather, the week before, he had thrown a firecracker under a table near reporters. So he threw a firecracker at the reporters and then a week later sprayed them with bleach.
I got to admit, sounds like a fun team.
Yeah.
Sounds like a real fun team.
Threw it under a table, not at
That's funny.
reporters.
That's
That's
funny.
safe.
The bleach part, it's a wild choice.
Well,
Dude,
maybe our clothes were dirty.
You know, like, just imagine covering some boring team that's losing. No, you go show it over. Honey, how was work today? Oh, man, you should have seen it. Brett Saberhagen. The Brett Saberhagen? Yep, the one from The Scout, the movie that they covered on Sitpub the other day. He lit a firecracker and threw it under our table while we were trying to do our gamers. We were all at typewriters and stuff.
I saw Mr. Baseball, and Mr. Baseball, they used to set people's shoes on fire while they were wearing them. So this doesn't seem like
Dude,
anything
that's
that's
mild.
serious. Yeah.
Mild. A firecracker, that's just good old-fashioned fun.
Just have a lot of questions about how you set someone's well, no, there are ways to do
It's
it.
just a hot foot. Isn't that what that's called? It's not setting someone's shoe
Called
on
a crime,
fire.
buddy.
Is it?
It's called
is it-
arson.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Lebatard Show. Do you know what a hot foot is? Because I believe that's what it's called.
Sounds like
It's-
a dance from the 1950s.
It does.
Come on, kids, let's do the hot
Do the
foot.
hot foot at the sock hop. Oh, because socks. That's why sock hop.
It does sound like that.
Hot foot, everyone.
It also sounds like Jeremy is saying that Vince Coleman rolled a grenade at fans.
I was
It
thinking
sure
that
sounds
too.
like it.
Green canister, but grenades don't have a fuse that you light, so that's the difference. Thin line. Yeah, you pull a pin.
Bert Blyleven. Yeah, Bert Blyleven. Earned the nickname the Frying Dutchman because of the hot foot prank, because he would do it so often.
Was
the
he
Frying Dutchman.
Oh, man, what a time that was. What a time that was, man, when sports were just fun. Just guys hanging out, having fun. Now everything is so, the business, the contracts, the politics, all this stuff. Like, guys just would just light people's shoes on fire and we'd laugh about it.
People just want to spray each other with breach. Damn it.
What? Go sit in the
right.
penalty box. Don't get she's right. Billy, I need you to be responsible today. Billy, I don't need you to concentrate on helping everyone else's anarchy. Please. We've got a thin room in there. Please, just once in a while, don't do the thing that causes more anarchy.
Just to clear something up, Bert Blyleven.
Do I have to go?
Yes.
Not
he-
Brett Saberhagen.
No.
But, Billy, concentrate on playing the note that sends her
Yeah.
to the penalty
Yeah,
box
go there.
because you're responsible for executive producing today. Please choose one of the hockey noises that sends her out of the room
play the
with
wrong
great comedic timing so that we can do the show correctly today and be WFAT that garners us New York audience, not because I'm just filibustering, waiting for you to get the timing right on how to executive produce a professional show at the top of your career.
Dan's about to explode.
Thin line between a firecracker and an explosive.
Major penalty on the ice, 5 minutes for rambling.
Oh, that's you. That's you.
I'm penalized.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
These are labeled
that's a
very
bad call.
poorly. No, you're still there.
Oh, wow.
No, Dan's good.
5 minute major.
5
for
minute
Dan.
major.
Bring it back.
Wow. Rambling there.
No, not really. He's just,
Talking about
come back in
garnering
there.
New York.
There's nothing says penalty here. It just says major. This is a horrible
man.
labeling system on this thing. Anyway.
But like, do you guys agree with me that sounds like an era where like I wish I was like covering a sport when guys were like this.
I mean, I don't want to get sprayed with bleach.
Not me
Bleach is not going
personally.
to do anything to you. Bleach is fine.
Is it fine?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah. Touch your skin. Okay, wipe it off. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Exactly. Keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Hey, you know what? Frosted tips, Jeremy. That's how we did it in the '90s. Just hey, guy with a spray gun. Next thing you know,
That's it?
in sync. That's what you look like.
Do you guys remember Sun-In? No,
Son-in-law?
No, Sun-In was like a product that people would put in their hair
Oh,
when
to
they
make it more
wouldn't
blonde?
like dye their hair, so they would put it in, and I guess there's like bleach or something in it, and then the sun would lighten your hair if you had Sun-In in your
Sun-In?
hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. That's the first time I've been replaced by Dan in the penalty box.
I hit the wrong
5
thing.
minute major
The
for him,
labeling
yeah.
here is all
Well,
awry.
is it awry?
It doesn't
I
say
got-
anything about penalty box anywhere in this.
What did it say? Did it say rambling?
It just says rambling major. It says ruining comedy major, but it's like all the way up.
That's probably
here, and
ruining
there's, like,
comedy for Charlotte.
2 more minutes.
Me?
No.
Are you kidding me? That was funny.
She misspoke.
She misspoke, but I don't know if
That's
we
funny.
have a
Isn't it
misspeak.
funny when people
We do?
misspeak?
It is the funniest comedy
It's
there
the
is.
funniest possible
The funniest
thing.
comedy there is one of your
There's
friends.
nothing worse
Yep.
than making a point that you misspeak on, and then you have to like completely disavow your point and just walk out of the room, basically.
Yeah, you have no leg to stand on.
It
once
happened.
you-
It happened to me the other day where my brother just got an ACL surgery, and we were talking about Alex Smith and how his ACL, he had like 1,000 ACL surgeries because of a broken leg and whatever. And I'm like,
Your brother's injury does not compare to Alex Smith.
Alex
Well,
that's what I was
leg
trying
like
to tell him.
completely
Stop you right
angled.
here.
That's what I was trying to
That's
tell
his
him.
point, yeah.
And then what I was saying was the manner, and then I said the manner like some sort of like English statesman.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say was the manner in which he broke it was different, but I said the manner, and then I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I literally left the house and walked away, drove in my car, and drove back home.
Charlotte.
I was like, I'm done.
Yesterday, Dan was trying to make a point about the F1 race in Monaco.
Oh, no.
And for some reason, he pronounced it Monaco. and
That's really
In
good.
Dan's defense, Monaco in Spanish is Monaco.
is that
Well,
is that how they say it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Correct
Really?
me if I'm wrong. Monaco is in France, correct?
Well,
it's its own little thing.
Yeah. It's in this. It's located the south of France, but it is its own little thing.
Monaco. How do you even say that? I'm not going to do it. I don't need to do a French accent.
I think you speak the most French out of everybody here, so.
That's because
That's just because I look like because I have glasses on sometimes.
You don't have glasses on today.
No, I don't, which is why I can't speak French today.
Dan, we were trying to get the New York audience. I think we might have hooked them a little bit with this last couple of minutes.
Well, I have the story that I want to get to. Tony, I appreciate you being here and helping me on the Spanish contingent because, Lord, the Americans had some fun yesterday on Monaco.
Monaco, that's how you say it in
no,
Spanish.
No, but they crushed me from every angle and kept doing it. And I'm like trying to get out of it. But there is nothing funnier around here than one of us getting a word wrong because then the piranha feed. But let me get to this Mets story that harkens back to the day when Vince Coleman was throwing grenades at toddlers. Yesterday, during this ridiculous season that the Mets are having, and they've got a disaster on their hands because they've got fewer wins than the Oakland A's somehow. Their payroll is ridiculous.
I think they have the highest payroll in baseball. I'm pretty sure it's north of $300 million, and they have like a 3-game lead on the Marlins for the worst record in the National League East. And if it wasn't for the trade deadline, where the Marlins seemingly are going to dump everyone,
It's the Mets.
they'd have, I think the Marlins would pass them. Like the Mets are a disaster. While having the highest payroll, their owner, who's also the richest owner in baseball, is also kind of telling everyone, yeah, we're gonna rebuild, which is why they got rid of Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander last year. They're a disaster.
Steve Cohen spent all the money and made a big splash, and like you said, bought the free agents, and it has been really bad. And yesterday, Juan Lopez blew another lead for them. They've gotten a lot of leads blown. And as he's walking back to the dugout, he hurls his glove into the stands. Do we have the video of that, or do we have to wait a second? Yes, we have the video of this. I'm sorry, it's Jorge Lopez. I called him Juan for some reason.
Same team. Keep it moving.
But let's see this because let's see what happens here, and you will see Lopez disintegrate.
Will Smith home run, capped by a Shohei Ohtani home run.
Ohtani's first home run here at Citi Field.
He didn't homer here with the Angels last year.
Someone just got tossed by Ramon De Jesus.
Who was it?
Who knows?
I think it was the third base umpire. Yeah, it was De Jesus.
Yeah. De Jesus has got a short fuse.
And he threw Lopez out of the game. What's that all about?
I don't know. He saved him.
This ends up resulting, by the way, in him losing his job. He gets sent out of the major leagues. He was demoted after, I don't even know if it was this or the press conference after this, but he's disgusted with himself. He's disgusted with everything that happened there, and he threw his glove into the stands, and somehow all that video we played didn't have the glove being thrown into the stands, which is just
well,
here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
So headed into that inning, it was a 3-3 game, and if you notice, when he was ejected, it was a 9-3 game. So things were not going well for the Mets in the 8th inning.
You know what's funny? Like, ejections in baseball are so different from ejections in, like, basketball. In basketball, a player gets ejected, you hear the crowd go, either it's a home crowd and like, oh, or it's a road crowd like, yeah. And in baseball, like, huh.
No, it's just because there's nobody there. That's not, usually that would result in a bunch of people booing. Can we see how high he tosses this glove?
Oh.
Because this was a very casual toss.
Well, he has to throw it over the net. Remember, there's all that extra netting now over the dugout. So he's got to arc it over that thing.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby Schmurder. That's a really good throw.
It really is. He's got a good arm. He should be a pitcher.
I like everybody trying to grab it as if it's a fly ball.
Mitch caught a body like a week ago, right?
Let me get to the press conference, please, afterward, because he ends up making all of it worse. And I felt bad for him here because he's doing this in his second language. And I've covered a lot of baseball players who are just terrified to do interviews in their second language because they get misunderstood, or you think they're stupid because they're worried about sounding stupid. And here Jorge Lopez says, I don't even know what he ended up saying because there was a clarification and then there was another clarification. But let's start with what he said.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No. I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB, so whatever happened. So whatever they want to do it, I'll be tomorrow here if they want me. Whatever they want to do. So I'm gonna keep doing this thing. So I'm healthy on whatever on whatever to do. I'm ready to come back tomorrow, and if they want me to be here, so I'll be here.
And they did not want him to be here. And I don't know whether he got sent down for the glove throw or for the commentary there. When you're saying, you don't often hear we're the worst bleeping team in the league, right? That's
a little much.
And saying you don't regret doing the thing you did that made you say they're the worst bleeping team in the league.
But evidently, there are some people saying that he meant to say worst teammate in the league, that it sounded like worst teammate in the league. I don't hear it there, but because he's doing it in his second language, there was a clarification. Does the clarification make it any better or worse?
Just to clarify what you said, just because I didn't fully understand. Did you say I'm on the worst team? Is that what you had said?
Yeah, probably. It looked like.
And that they were embarrassed by you? Is that what you...
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. That sounds like he pretty much knew what he was saying.
Yeah, it sounds like...
Objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
I'm kind of with him on this one.
I don't know what's real here about what he's saying, what he's trying to say, and I'm trying to help with the translation, being as gentle as possible, because I feel bad for someone trying to struggle through this in their second language, but I'm still not clear on what he meant to say.
I think on the clarification, when he's being asked, did you say you guys are the worst team in the league, it might be possible that he understands just worst team in the league. So when he says, yeah, probably, looks like it, it's the answer to that question, not, yeah, probably, looks like I said we're the worst team in the league. I'm just not sure in this situation.
It sounds like to me he said the clarification says it's the worst team in the league, but they want to blame me for oh yeah, it's my fault we lost. It's my fault we're not good. We're the worst team in the league.
I feel like it, regardless of whether he said we're the worst team in the league the first time, the second time he did say when asked, did you say you're the worst team? He said probably that's still saying you're the worst team. It's just saying it a different way. You
the
know,
probably part.
Come on. The probably part gives him that's like couching. He's like, I'm hedging. I don't know.
Maybe I said
maybe
it. I said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Can I say right now, is he wrong? Why are we going against this guy for telling the truth, telling it how it is? When has that been a bad thing in this country, and particularly in that city, this fine city, where everyone tells you how it is? How's your day? It sucks. How's yours? That's a New York way. And when he's asked, are you guys saying you're the worst team in the league? He's like, yeah. Well, should I lie? Oh, no, we're going to win a World Series this year. I'm with you. Guy who got, what's his name, Lopez? I'm with you.
Jorge Lopez.
Jorge Lopez.
Not just Guy.
Guy Lopez.
Let me play.
I know one of those.
Let me play for the audience just a stream of assorted sad Mets announcers so that you guys understand what a misery it is to go to this ballpark this year.
It's battle. There's losing, and then there's what's happening here, and it's two different things. This is just gut-wrenching. It is, and the fact that you're coming home off a bad road trip, and you're coming home, and you lose in this fashion.
Knicks 11 tomorrow. Once again, Sean Manaea against Logan Webb. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And remember, the sun will come up tomorrow.
Will it?
As difficult as that may be to realize.
Okay, I feel like the most Mets thing of all time is to have the highest payroll in baseball be horrible. Have your own announcer saying the sun might come up tomorrow
Will he promised
but he
it.
couched it. He said as hard as that, again, a little bit of probably.
He promised. That was not probably. The sun will come up tomorrow, was that Gary Cohen?
Put his name on it.
Ron Darling and Gary Cohen have been very sad. They've got an assortment of this that we can play. Keith Hernandez, too.
A 3-run triple for Mike Yastrzemski makes it 7-2 San Francisco. And the Giants have scored 5 times in the 10th.
Fastball belt high out over the plate. Just couldn't get there. Boy, oh boy. Feels like the sky's falling.
It has felt like that virtually every day for the last month.
Good grief.
I've got to be honest. If the sky is falling, I'm not sure the sun's coming up tomorrow. If the sky is falling with the sun, even worse. It has to have felt like that for the month. For the month of how many games have they won in May? The Mets
7.
To be fair, he said it feels like the sky is falling. He didn't say the sky is falling.
He didn't say for sure.
Is that Chicken Little?
I mean,
is that what
Chicken Little said the sky is falling.
Yeah, that's what that's from.
He's saying it feels like the sky is falling.
Chicken Little would be an amazing name for a baseball player.
In like the 1930s.
Yeah. Chicken Little up to the bat.
It'd be like a person that batted like this, probably, like had a wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they call him Chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Go on, Dan.
But he's got to be like 6'3", right? To be an ironic
Thin,
thing.
though. Thin.
He's a plumber.
I would like to hear, now, back in the 1930s, a woman wasn't allowed in the baseball broadcast booth, but I would like to hear again Charlotte calling the at-bat of 1930s. I don't know who Chicken Little plays for. I don't know who they're playing against.
The Brooklyn Bridegrooms. That's a real team name.
Okay. Chicken Little, the Brooklyn Bridegroom, steps up to the plate. He has had an interesting season here. You could say it's been a wing and a prayer, Jerry. So the count is 0-2, and Chicken Little, that's a swing and a miss.
That pitch was brought to you by Brillo. When you need to scrub things away.
And baking powder, because I feel that's what sponsored everything.
I know that Charlotte and Amin just took us to a different time in the 1930s with Chicken Little, but I honestly feel when I'm going through that Met stuff and giving you guys the story of what happened in the 80s that I'm going into such a different time that it's not being absorbed. How shocking it would be if I told you, hey, the Warriors, they're falling apart. Do you know what happened? Draymond sprayed reporters with bleach and Kuminga rolled a grenade across a parking lot at a 2-year-old. Like, if this happened today, do you realize how scandalous this would be?
Dan, Draymond choked someone 13 seconds into a game.
Not the correct guy to use as an example.
I'm just saying spraying bleach at reporters is so aggressive. Like, fighting the media like that is crazy.
What's more aggressive, spraying reporters with a bleach spray gun or
a rear naked choke to Rudy Gobert?
13 seconds into the game.
I mean, when it's athlete-on-athlete crime, it gets received differently than when it's athlete-on-reporter crime. Like, if he sprayed Gobert with bleach from a squirt gun, that also would be shocking and funny. But spraying reporters with bleach from a water gun is crazy.
Maybe we get more fair and balanced coverage if the reporters got sprayed with bleach sometime. Caller, you're on the air.
Some people think if he would have sprayed Gobert with bleach, we wouldn't have had COVID.
What?
Put it on the poll,
it's very
please.
true. I've always said this.
At Levitard Show.
We never had it in the 80s.
Oh.
Brett Saberhagen, great American, great guy.
Trickle down bleach.
Made sure that everybody in that dugout was clean.
If we had sprayed Gobert with bleach, would we have cured COVID? Put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show.
What a guy.
Your Trump's not great.
I know.
Did he just start doing it?
I wish he hadn't.
It started a few months ago.
I feel like a lot of impersonators can do Trump pretty well. I don't feel like he's that hard to do. I think you've done
You always
it
have to hit
particularly poorly.
You got to go, what a guy, the most incredible.
What a guy. No one's ever seen a guy like this before.
That one's better than Amin's, at least.
It's not saying much. It really isn't. I wanted to get into something that Rex Chapman has thrown into the content stream saying, and I agree with him. Bill Walton, when he died, the outpouring was so impressive. And this part is super rare, okay? It is super rare when a Hall of Famer dies and the eulogy isn't about what he did to be a Hall of Famer. Like, that's usually what we know is here's how this person was great. That's how they were defined. It's not with an outpouring that has love in it for who the person was beyond the play, because I really do feel like the way Bill Walton is being celebrated is so universal and so soaked in love that it's about the person and not what you identify with the person doing in their career. It's just, this was a man who was colorful about life, and it was enduring even beyond a Hall of Fame career.
I have to say, not to get serious on everybody, but that the way that Bill Walton is being remembered has been very inspiring to me. It's made me think, how can you go about every day making every moment the best and having this impact on people? Because I don't know that I've ever seen, as you're saying, I've never seen anything like this. And there was something really moving to me. And, he made me want to be better, Dan.
It's super rare to have 3 days of coverage on a death hitting sports fans, on a light going out, on something that goes from really colorful to dark in a way that reminds you of your mortality, but also makes you do things like what Rex Chapman is doing, which is, why didn't we tell this person these things, all of these things, when he was still alive? And he was talking about doing an Alive Appreciation Day for some people who are so beloved in this particular way, because it's not just about greatness. It's about the energy you take around you every day, person to person that you're meeting, leaving people with the impact of I'm Bill Walton. When we were eulogizing him earlier this week, I told you how remarkable it was that that person was able to do that while always in physical pain. Because all the people I know who are always in physical pain, they don't have sunshine on them that they're distributing. Physical pain can be something that if you're involved in your self-involvement, you can feel that above all other things, and it will affect how you treat people.
Dan, to be fair, he battled depression, like serious depression. He talked about it a lot as pain testing his ability to be like present in the moment and happy and all those things. So I don't know if Bill Walton was successful, But he presented.
No, forgive me.
Right.
He was successful because the enduring thing that he left when in contact with others is you were not feeling that depression.
Right.
I mean, he was now whether it was a mask or not.
Yeah.
The feeling he was leaving others with is an energy of positivity, despite the fact I wasn't even talking earlier this week about the emotional pain that he's in.
Right.
The physical pain of 38 surgeries. I don't know how that person did that. I don't know how he was able to get out of bed in pain in the morning and go spread sunshine outside his house when he was in that kind of discomfort.
I wonder if that's partly why, because he knew how painful things could be, and so he felt the need to, or not the need, he felt compelled to make the moments that he could make great, to make them great. There's a preciousness to what he was experiencing because, I think there are more people than you would think who are in pain, whether emotional or physical, who go hard in the other direction in terms of how they present publicly because it's so dark inside. It's a way of bringing light in or bringing light to other people.
You think, he was not successful in this regard? Because I don't know how you define success when the eulogy or the obituary is soaked in so much. That person made me feel good. We're going to show you a Mike Breen story in a second that I thought was super moving. But when you say you're not sure that he was successful in overcoming that, am I misunderstanding what you're saying?
I guess I wonder, how many times have we heard stories of people who make everybody happy turn out to be profoundly unhappy?
Robin Williams.
Owen Wilson, who's still with us. But, he's a guy he's funny, he's always a positive guy and all that, and it's like, yeah, this dude was dealing with horrible depression, and so, I don't know, I didn't know Bill like that. I knew he talked about it though. I know he's talked about it very openly, in fact, about his struggles, but I guess I wonder if they present in a way that just makes us feel better. Aren't they just making us feel better and basically further insulating themselves in with whatever pain they're dealing with?
I think the part with Bill that is the difference in some of these folks that we've mentioned is, Bill passed away from cancer, not by suicide, and so in his own world, he dealt with depression. He found his coping mechanisms to come through that and be that light for everyone else, and he dies of this horrible battle with this horrible physical disease. Mm-hmm. But it's partially the fact that's so inspiring is that he didn't let his mental diseases and hurdles be the thing that took away from him and took away from us.
It's impossible for me to know him well enough to tell you whether he was actually lonely or not, but it didn't seem like it. It would seem with that kind of pain and that kind of depression that you would be alone with it, even if you're around people. But when he left the house, he left an impact that is, to me, the reaction to this has been startling. It's 3 days, and I'm telling you, there have been any number of people who have died around here. Pieces of my childhood have been dying recently, and it gets skipped over in the news because there's not time for it. Plenty of Hall of Famers. I haven't seen what this reaction is, where the human touch of this person was such that when you lose the humanity to death, people are impacted in a way that we're still talking about it days later. And Rex Chapman is bringing up what I think is a conversation I want to have, which is, who are the people you would bestow in both pop culture and sports right now with the honor of saying, I'd love this person to know right now how much he means to people. I think Kobe Bryant, the world that he lived in, because it was so competitive and because there was so much hatred around sports fandom, my guess is that Kobe would not have seen what the outpouring was when we lost him, feeling that way, where even Shaq gets thawed and changed by just wishing he had said certain things to Kobe while he was still alive. Let's play here the Mike Breen clip so that people can see what Bill Walton was doing when people weren't around with cameras and looking and trying to see who he was in public.
So my dad had Parkinson's disease, and it started to get advanced to the point where we were afraid he wasn't going to be able to travel much. He didn't really want to go out of the house much. So my younger brother, Pete, gave me a great idea. He says, before Dad can't travel, why don't we take him out to San Diego, where the USS Midway is stationed as a museum. My dad served on the Midway during the Korean War and had not been on the aircraft carrier since he left the service. So we made plans to go, and of course, Bill lived in San Diego, so I called him to get a hotel recommendation that was near the Midway. And of course, Bill, it's like, you're not staying in a hotel, you're staying with me. And I convinced my father and my brother, and the three of us went, and we were going to spend 3 days at Bill's house. And when we got there, first thing Bill did is he put my father in the Bob Dylan room. The bedrooms were all named after people that meant something to Bill, and usually that's something to do with musicians. And the Bob Dylan room was a place of honor, so that's the first thing we did. Well, Malika, for the next 3 days, he did not leave my father's side. Wherever we went, wherever we ate breakfast or lunch or dinner, he was seated right next to my father. If we went for a drive in the car, my father was in the front seat next to him. And always like, John, you're next to me. John, you're next to me. Didn't leave him at all. And then when it came time to go to the Midway, we thought we were just going to go and buy tickets like everybody does who wants to go take the tour. But when we got there, Bill had called in advance, and he called to tell them that one of your heroes is returning to the ship that he served on. So the commander of the Midway is the one who greeted us. And we went on for about a 2-hour tour. And let me tell you, an aircraft carrier is no place for a 7-footer, especially one with back problems and knee problems, because there's small little areas. You've got to duck everywhere you go. And it was a painful walk for him. But he walked every step, again, right by my father's side. And it was very emotional for my dad to go back. And there were a couple of times where he broke down. And so, of course, my brother and I got emotional as well. And then I look at Bill, and he's got the tears streaming down his cheeks. And it was a special day for him and having Bill next to him.
Since Amin got here at the same time that Jimmy Butler did, Amin El-Hassan has been telling us that Jimmy Butler is better than Miami thought he was.
I've been here a lot longer than Jimmy Butler.
No, but I'm saying when Jimmy Butler arrived here and you got here to talk about it upon Jimmy Butler's arrival, you since the beginning have been correcting us, telling us that he's better than we thought he was. I see that he now has a cameo with Lionel Messi in Bad Boys, and I really haven't seen...
Not in Bad Boys. I believe just in the marketing campaign around it, in the same way that Nikola Jokic is not actually in Despicable Me. He's just in the marketing campaign around it.
Is this going to be a big movie?
Bad Boys?
Yeah. Like, how big is this going to be?
They've been disavowed by their government. This is the Mission Impossible. What? This is the Mission Impossible.
They've been disavowed by the government?
Have they really?
Yeah, like they're on the run. They're fugitives.
Fugitives?
I'm telling you, man. This is
Hold
gonna be
on
a big
a second. Because I know that they're whatever, their police chief or whatever the guy is.
Yeah.
What's the little guy's name?
Joey Pants.
Yeah, him. Like, I know that he was, like, always mad at them, and they were always causing him headaches.
How did you blow up a boat?
Yeah, so, like, they're always on the outs. But, like, now, like, not just, like, police department, like, the government
They
has
are
disavowed
fugitives
them.
of the law.
Well, how hard could they be to find? His family somehow on a police salary lives on Star Island. Like,
Well,
how hard could it be to find?
It's because he comes from well-to-do means. That's
No, not Martin Lawrence. Or no, Martin Lawrence, his family lives on Star Island.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. You look at the house, it's on Star Island.
Is it?
Yeah, his backyard is water. It's crazy.
Movie magic, Billy.
It's insane. By the way, first pitch next week. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence at the Marlins game. Yeah.
Let's go. Well, I'm not going to be here.
Well, you can come. I mean,
NBA Finals.
Fly in.
But what are you going to do? You're going to come just to watch him throw out the first pitch?
Yeah, and then leave. That's what everyone else does.
I think it was described as a takeover. I don't know what that means.
Oh, that means they're
It's
going to
bad boy stuff.
They set the lineups.
Well, I mean, if they're still disavowed by the government, they're telling the authorities where they're going to be. They should be easy to get, you would think.
Billy,
right?
spoiler alert, they get it all sorted out by the end.
Joey
you know? Have
Pants
you
was
seen it?
actually the manager of the baseball team that Chicken Little was on.
I believe
And
that.
there goes the skipper, Joey Pants.
Did you call him Joey Pants because you're afraid to pronounce his last name?
That's his nickname, Joey Pants.
I know,
Yeah.
but are you afraid to pronounce his last name?
He is.
I don't know what his last name is.
Pants, I think.
It is not Pants.
Joseph Pants.
Mr.
Joseph.
Pants?
Mr. Pants. Yeah.
Mr. Pants is my father.
Is this going to be like the Will Smith comeback tour? Like, this is... He's
It
back?
already is.
Yes,
Like, but
it
we're
is.
good? Everyone's
It
fine?
already is.
Yeah.
The ad campaign that Dan is talking about, Jimmy Butler walks through the door and says, I'm Jimmy Butler. And Will looks at him and says, did you just say your actual name? And I was like, you know what, man? I've been Mr. Comedy and got to protect the comedians on it. I'm back in. I'm back in on this.
Does he have to let... Like, I feel like his comeback is complete. I feel like he goes a little gray, right? Because, like, it's too much.
No.
It's
No.
too... It's
Wait,
too,
what?
No,
It's too dark.
He's shaming him for.
I'm not shaming. I'm just saying, like, you want to come back. I feel like I don't understand why everyone's still mad at Will Smith. I don't get that. That's like a whole aside. Like, yeah, you know, he slapped someone.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, but like we loved Chris Rock that much that this was like such a crime. Like, I didn't know Chris Rock was this beloved figure in America that you can't touch him in the face.
Really?
Hold on.
That is
First of all,
not. That is not a take I've heard anywhere else. You're really just arguing on behalf of it's time to forgive him. You're not saying it's not that bad what he did, right?
I mean, I don't know.
I think it's a body of work thing more so than the slap. I think there's been a lot of crap movies. He's done a lot of stuff where it's been like, eh.
So we banned him from the Oscars for crap movies, not because he slapped. Like, they were just looking for a reason. Even though that night they gave him an Oscar, they're like, you know what? But we could take a little break from this.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You know what?
Tell me.
You know what told me that Will Smith has done? He doesn't go gray or anything to get forgiveness. He's already gotten it. He got the seal of approval from Kev on Stage and Tony Baker, two of the funniest guys in comedy. And once they gave the seal of approval to Will Smith, and Will Smith is cool.
I mean, I don't think
everybody
it's
else-
over yet, though.
No,
I
it's
think
over.
this is
It's
part of
over.
an
It's over.
orchestrated campaign to get him back.
It worked.
And Bad Boys 4 has to be, decent.
No, it doesn't.
No, it just has to make a lot of money.
Exactly right. That's
A lot
it
of
right there.
money.
It can be bad.
Exactly. It could be Bad
It
Boys.
just has to be popular.
Yeah. They really dropped the ball calling the third one Bad Boys Forever.
They
So
didn't-
dumb. No foresight. What do they think? Look at the Fast and Furious model. There's always going to be another one.
4 bad, 4 boys was right there.
That's
Wow.
true.
Bad boy foresight.
Also,
Hold on. If there was 4 bad, 4 boys, who do you add to the mix? Who are the other 2 boys?
Kev on Stage and Tony Baker.
Okay.
I don't know that studio heads. I feel like they'd want like Chris Hemsworth and
No.
Oh, no.
No. You've gone too far.
Chris Hemsworth would be like the other like police officer
He'd
in
be the bad one,
department.
the crooked one.
yeah.
Yeah, probably the crooked one, but the one that Joey Pants likes and thinks on the up and up.
I've got Joey Pants' name, by the way. Joey,
Pants
well,
Lee.
Joe, Pantoliano.
Oh, that makes
Paisano.
sense. Yeah.
Pants. Yeah.
Well, you saw that Amin never answered my question, right? He's a wily one. I sort of was trying to get him to pronounce Joey's name, or try to, and he just did what Stugotz does in that chair, that's why I call him Joey Pants, Dano.
Joseph Pants.
Joseph Pants. Did you call him?
Wait. Oh, yeah.
Joseph
Joey.
A. Pants.
Joey Joseph.
Did you say he's wily because he lives in Arizona?
I did not.
Oh.
The thing that I was trying to get to
Coyotes.
before we talked about Bad Boys Forever, that was the name of Bad Boys 3, Bad
Yes.
Boys Forever. So this would have been the one to make Bad Boys Forever.
By the way, I want to point out, Billy, you try to say, oh, it's like the Fast and the Furious had the whole formula. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Too Fast, Too Furious the third Fast and Furious movie?
You're wrong.
Sure, which is why 4 boys, 4 bad, 4 boys is still on the table.
Why do you think it's the third one?
Isn't Tokyo Drift a sequel?
No, that was the third one. But then there's like a whole thing where if you look like on a timeline, they were released like not in sequential order. And Tokyo Drift, while it was the third one that it was made, and Vin Diesel, spoiler alert, was only in it at the end because he was trying to get the rights, I believe, to Chronicles of Riddick. Like he then owns it for appearing in Tokyo Drift. If you look at Tokyo Drift, while again, it doesn't really have anyone from the first two in it, one of the most important ones in the 10. Because it connects everything together.
What?
It's
the only one I've seen.
Really?
It's
Why?
The only Fast. I don't know.
I haven't seen any Fast.
I saw Tokyo Drift.
Who are you hiring to co-host these shows?
Sorry.
His mind is blown.
Getting back to the story I was trying to get to here, and
Oh my God!
Was that an explosive or a firecracker?
Jeremy had also said he had never
Billy.
seen one, which sent Billy to the rafters.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I just found out that there's The Fast and the Furious, and then also Fast and Furious. Why?
Right.
Wait a minute. So
I thought that was an accident,
So
Billy.
Billy, as the executive producer, just fell on his back, feet in
My
the
mind
air.
was blown. It was a throwback.
Okay, but yes, your mind was blown, but you were the only one who heard what Jeremy said, so you were reacting to something that made Charlotte genuinely fear that Vince Coleman had rolled a grenade in here.
Well, it wasn't a
worried about you,
grenade because
Billy.
there was it was lit.
wick.
Yeah,
the
there's
wick.
a wick. John Wick. That's
John-
another one. I haven't seen the John
I
Wick.
have
Vinny
seen
Wick.
some John
Really?
Wicks. I think I saw the second in theaters.
Tried watching the first one. It was boring.
It's
Whoa,
pretty.
I don't
It's
know.
Boring.
I don't
What's
do
wrong
well
with
with
that?
violence, so that was an interesting choice.
Why?
Why don't I do well in violence?
Yeah, it's fake.
Yeah, but it makes me feel like.
Yeah, I get it.
What is that? What's
Yeah,
that feeling?
you know, like.
There is one I do that with. If you knife someone in the movies, I
Yeah.
get
Oh,
I get
the pencil
uncomfortable.
Not
to
a
the
Kill
head?
Bill guy, Dan?
The knifing of people. You know what? Let me think about it. If samurai swords do this for me as well. It's not they're
Big knife.
Yeah, but it's not quite the same in Pulp Fiction. It doesn't, or Kill Bill. It doesn't feel the same to me as just the sound and the ripping that comes with a knife and a stabbing. Not even a samurai sword makes me wince the way that does.
Brother, have you watched Shogun? Because when they do seppuku, oh my God, man, that is
There is gurgling, brother.
There's a lot of gurgling.
But
Yeah,
there-
I can't handle it.
There's funny violence, right? Like there's like you could behead someone in a funny way.
like Wile E. Coyote.
Will Smith,
Arizona.
the slap.
Getting back to what I was trying to say, but because now Billy is just shocked that we have 3 people in here that between them have seen one Fast and the Furious movie. Tony, how many of these have you seen? Are you being Billy's ally here? Because I haven't seen in fact, I haven't seen one start to finish. I've seen pieces of a bunch of them.
What?
I've seen probably 3 or 4 of them. Most recently, the one where they have a giant safe that's like the size of like a football
Spoiler
stadium.
alert.
That they drag through the favelas on a chain.
Spoiler alert.
Very strong chain, by the way. And then there's a helicopter.
That was
too,
one
and
of the
they're trying
best
to get
ones.
their-
You want to
down.
watch that one? That's a good one.
Which one's that? 8?
A
No, that was
safe
5, I
the
think.
size of a football field?
Yeah, it's a massive
No,
safe.
it's not the size of a football field. It's proportions and Tony don't.
Oh, right.
My bad.
Tony did once draw me a picture of the pyramids.
Oh, that's right. The Wi-Fi.
The what to prove they had Wi-Fi.
Were they square?
Yeah.
Between all of us, we have not seen half as many Fast and the Furiouses as Billy.
Well, there's
Between all
spin-offs
of
too.
us.
Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw. Great movie. I would argue.
That's one with The Rock?
There's a couple with The Rock, and then he left. But spoiler alert, he appeared at the end of the last one. Because the last one was the last one. But it was part 1 of 2 of the last one, if that makes sense.
Is he Hobbs or Shaw?
He's Luke Hobbs.
Okay, so he's Hobbs. I've seen that one.
Put it on
Shaw
the poll,
is,
please.
what's the British guy?
Jason Statham.
Statham. Oh, that guy.
Oh, good voice.
Man, have you guys
Great
seen
voice.
The Beekeeper?
I wanted to watch it on the flight.
Dude, I laughed so hard that entire movie. It is hilarious. It is the best comedy ever.
What's The Beekeeper?
It's Jason Statham doing Jason Statham things.
Yeah.
Is he keeping bees?
Yes, he is, but he's also it's a code name for like some CIA operative.
Oh, I love an
wet work
operative.
Stuff, yeah.
Statham has like the funny violence, and then he has also like the violence. It's like, this is a little too much. I don't need to watch this. I also saw on Netflix, Dan, I'm sorry for this derailment. We'll get back in just a second. I also saw on Netflix, there's this movie with Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a mini series where there's just this bee that's tormenting him. He's house sitting, and he destroys this house just trying to get this bee out of the house. It's crazy. And I don't think there's very many words in it at all.
See, Charlotte's got no problem with that kind of violence.
What is that supposed to mean?
She
I
hates
have to
insects.
confess that I thought Mr. Bean for a while. Oh man.
Stay on track, Charlotte. Try not
No,
to
I'm
get
just really
distracted.
embarrassed.
Confession. It's an emotional
I'm really
confession.
embarrassed about what I'm about to tell you, which is that I thought Mr. Bean was the guy who played Gollum in Lord of the Rings. I thought Mr. Bean was Andy Serkis.
Did anyone play Gollum? I thought it was like a
Oh, it was
CGI
Andy Serkis.
thing.
It was, and then anytime I see Andy Serkis in a movie, I'm like, why is Mr. Bean in this movie?
I can hear them cackling out there.
I mean, it's funny.
I can hear them.
But do you see Andy Serkis, is that his name?
Rowan Atkinson?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Bean. I was like, it is crazy that Mr. Bean is Gollum.
I also think Mr. Bean only had like 12 total episodes or something like
No
that.
way.
So people, look it up. It's
Ahead
like
of his time.
It's like a crazy short run, Mr. Bean, but everybody would see just the same episodes over and over again, and you thought like Mr. Bean has at least 150 episodes, and it's like 12. Wow, so Gollum was a real person.
Yep.
That's Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis plays a lot of like creatures with mocap stuff, but he also like plays himself sometimes.
Can we look that up, please? Put it on the poll. Did you know that Mr. Bean only lasted 12 episodes? Because I did not think that was accurate.
And he doesn't talk.
That's like Gilligan's. Well, he does talk. He does.
Well, he doesn't really talk. As a kid, I was like, why isn't he talking? What's the
Really?
bid here? I don't get it. Why is he not talking?
Come on. What, as a kid,
As a kid, yeah,
Dude,
I was confused by
I'm
like.
gonna tell you my favorite Mr. Bean skit. He goes into a locker room. He's going to the pool. He sees a guy with sunglasses on. He's like, "Oh, I've got to change," and he tries to change into a swimsuit without ever getting naked.
Yeah.
At one point, his underwear is like on his shoulder and stuff. And finally, he does it. And the guy with the sunglasses stands up, pulls out a walking cane, and
He's
just
blind.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard, man.
They showed his butt a lot.
Mr. Bean?
Yeah, his butt showed a couple times. I remember thinking, like,
Hubba, hubba.
outrageous.
Mr. Butt.
I don't know about that.
There was also a Mr. Bean movie, and there was a Mr. Bean spy movie, Johnny English, that I think was a trilogy.
Johnny English was awesome. I
Johnny
love
English
Johnny
was
English.
great because he was basically Mr. Bean, but an international spy. Johnny English, great.
Talked a little bit more in that one.
Put it on the poll, please.
John Malkovich was the bad guy. How did they get him? Who knows? Crazy. That guy's had some bad roles.
Mr. Bean lasted 15 episodes, and put it on the poll, please, at Lebitard Show. Over or under 90 years old, the person who uses the phrase hubba hubba to celebrate sensuality.
Today's throwback guest is a former power forward for the Los Angeles Lakers. He won 4 NBA championships while playing for the team during their Showtime era. Let's hit play on this classic interview with Kurt Rambis.
You make what, Kurt, of the intensity of last night's basketball game between the Bulls and the Heat?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I wish every game in the NBA was like that, from day one to game 82, and then escalate in the playoffs after that. I absolutely loved it.
Whose team do you like more, the Heat or the Bulls?
Yeah, that's a real tough call, but I've gone with Miami from the very beginning of the year, and I'm just going to stick with them. You can look at both teams and see deficiencies on both teams in terms of when they get in the playoffs, what other teams could do in terms of exploiting them. You look at Miami and their lack of bench help, their lack of outside scoring. That could potentially cause them a problem. And then you look at what Chicago brings. They don't have a whole lot of outside scoring either whenever they are matched up against a real good defensive team. And they don't have somebody that's a real go-to guy.
What should concern the Heat fan the most?
Well, it should be their half-court offense. I've been saying that all year long. It's great whenever their defense allows them to get deflections, steals, they get long rebounds because they've created an opportunity for their opponent to take a poor, ill-advised shot, get a long rebound, and run. But that doesn't happen in the playoffs. You're scouted so heavily. Teams know they've got to execute their offense better so that they can get better shots. So they're not going to turn the ball over. You won't get the deflections that you need to get out and run. So what can we do in a half-court environment that's going to be best suited for us? And like you said, LeBron's been tailing off with his post-up opportunities, but that's where they got to go back. They got to get LeBron closer to the basket. They got to get Wade closer to the basket. If they don't start knocking down some outside shots to spread the defense out to open up driving lanes for Wade and LeBron, that's going to cause them problems.
It's a criticism I hear a lot, the one that you're saying their half-court offense doesn't look right. But every time I've checked, they've been number one in the league in half-court efficiency. And I'm confused between what the numbers say and what people are seeing, because you're not the first one to mention that, but the numbers don't seem to support that. So you do what with that information?
Well, here's what happens in the playoffs. You're able to focus on your opponent a lot more strictly. You're able to look at your individual opponents that you'll be matched up against in a playoff. It's undeniable that LeBron James does much better driving to his left. They clear the left side of the floor so that he can get to his left. Whenever you're matched up against a good defensive team, they're going to scout that. They're going to make sure that he's forced to a crowded side of the floor. They're also going to do a much better job of not letting him drive. They're going to challenge him to beat him with outside shot. To me, if I'm an opponent, I'm wanting Wade, I'm wanting LeBron to beat me from the outside. I don't want them driving, getting to the basket, and that's what scouting will do for you.
Kurt, I loved your look back when you played, and I think many people did, the porn stash, the glasses, but I'm wondering here, do you look back at those old photos? Do you cringe?
Oh, absolutely. From the hair to the mustache to the glasses, albeit the glasses are now back in style, which absolutely shocks me. I see Howard wearing them. I see LeBron. I see Russell for OKC wearing them, so that's amazing to me. But the shorts are kind of what is distracting more than anything else.
Tight.
It's painful to look at those.
Very tight shorts, very short shorts.
Yes, they were.
Your favorite Pat Riley story playing for him?
You know, we were in Dallas, and we did not play very well as a ball club, and he was always a terrific, motivating coach. He was always hardworking and dedicated to all of us players and what we could do to better ourselves as a ball club, but he was trying to motivate us at halftime in Dallas, and he picked up a chair. You know, some of those folding chairs are pretty light and you can sling them, but some of those folding chairs are pretty heavy, and he went to throw it, and it did not go very far, and he kind of stumbled afterwards. We got his message, but it was with a snicker because we had to put our head down while we were laughing. So
stumbling.
It was a heavy chair. Kurt, thank you. We always appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kurt.
I know that the audience is tired of hearing me talk about the doom and gloom of climate change, but the other day, I-95 flooded out of nowhere, and I didn't think I-95 was something that could flood. I didn't know that a major highway that we need to get in and out of an evacuated area could have such an unprecedented amount of rain on it that it can't get away fast enough, and so a highway is flooding. The reason I asked the question is, did you guys, and thank you, Izzy Gutierrez, for showing up here. We have a portal that whenever we're talking Jimmy Butler, we get one of the best analysts anywhere in basketball to just flume through here and sit down in the seat. And we're so close to talking about Jimmy Butler last segment.
You just got to find that transition from climate change to Jimmy Butler.
That's all I've got to do.
I like how he was like, I'm going to talk about the I-95 being flooded. And he looked up, he said, oh, Izzy's here. Oh.
Well, they pressed the button, they brought him in through the portal, and I'm like, why is he here? Oh, I was trying to talk about Jimmy Butler before. Did you guys feel the storms that came through here last night where out of nowhere it was 60-mile-an-hour winds? Did anyone, because there are things happening on my balcony that I have never seen happen on my balcony before.
Yeah, I live just off of the intercoastal and the water. I mean, knows this. I have a boat. Yeah. And so,
wow. Whoa, this guy, look at me, Louie over here.
Pardon us, Captain. Jeez, Louise.
Louie, all right.
Look at me, Louie. Okay. And so there are times where randomly, and this is just over the last year, and I think we talked about this, you guys talked about this last year, where there was all of a sudden a tropical storm. No warning, just a tropical storm. And there's like these boxes that we have to have by the boats. And all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and that box has floated like halfway down the parking lot there. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Like, I don't have a warning for this storm, and all of a sudden, all this equipment's just ruining everybody's traffic. It's just absolutely insane. This place has been around forever and never had these types of weather issues.
Every time, that storm you're talking about, Izzy, shocked the hell out of me because I've never been in a hurricane. And I was like, is this what it's like? You guys live through this shit every year?
No, 60-mile-an-hour winds is about 3 or 4 times less than what the worst of those can be.
But that blew my mind. I'm like, I can't imagine this being my norm. Like, oh, summertime. Okay, guys, batten down the hatches. Like,
oh, yeah, hurricane season's right around the corner, June 1st. We already got in the mail, if you live here locally, like the hurricane preparedness guide that comes with, like, the little things that you hang on your door, like, okay, not okay. As if, like, if I was in a situation, my door would be there, and you'd be like, "Oh, let's see here, everything's flooded."
It's like a hotel. Please do not disturb.
Exactly right. That's
Riding
what
out
it
the
is.
hurricane,
Yeah, you hang
having
it.
fun.
Like as you're drowning in your house, and doesn't say not okay, so you must be fine in there.
Well, this is the time of the season, though. Like, 'tis the season. Welcome to hurricane season, right around the corner. Oh, tomorrow, right? How many days are there?
Well, don't say
May?
hurricane season
30.
too many times because Mike might come bursting in.
No, God, no.
Izzy, is your boat okay? That's
is your boat okay?
That's what I care about.
The boat's okay. The cover doesn't really stay on when the wind blows, so we got to take the cover off, and then the sun beats it up.
We all have our
We got to get a
crosses there.
reupholster.
You got a sand cover. You got to get the one with
Got
sand.
a little boat shame
Is
because we got to get
canvas,
reupholstered
tan
right
canvas?
No, it's
Canvas.
like a off-white.
Huh.
Eggshell.
Not Hirachi.
Do you guys, I'm assuming just by the judgment that I feel coming my way, you guys do not prepare for hurricane season. Like for June 1st, you do not get your supplies. You just wait until the last moment.
I will tell you that the place where I live is in no way prepared for what it is that is coming. The storms that are being predicted. This is supposed to be the most ravenous hurricane season ever. The ocean is way too hot, and that is dangerous. What do you guys?
I feel like they say that every year.
They said that last year,
all
Dano.
the time.
We didn't get anything
This
last year.
entire room
erupted
erupted. Last year they said the same
I'm
thing.
just
You
gonna
guys
say,
are screwed.
I thought it. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be the one that's in the clip that gets played when the big one comes. But we have been hearing it for a couple years that it's going to be an overactive hurricane season, and it's not amounted to very much. At least not here, which is the thing. Because we're just kind of looking at it through our own prism of, like, I didn't get hit by a hurricane. It was an easy year for us.
I am not. A place that I vacationed as a child, Sanibel Island, has been wiped off the earth. Because
Wait, Sanibel's gone?
It's in space.
They've
now.
rebuilt it, by the way.
It went into space.
I went over there, Dano. They rebuilt it.
They did rebuild it.
We will rebuild.
It was wiped off the earth
That's an
temporarily.
island I've heard of.
The crazy thing is when those things happen, how quickly they rebuild bridges. And it's like, well, why did it take 4 years the first time? You rebuilt it in 3 weeks.
Bridges, I love bridges.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I really love
good,
bridges.
good commentary.
Miles Bridges or Mikhail Bridges?
I don't know where she is
Mikhail,
this
I love.
segment.
Nash
She is
Bridges.
just having these stray thoughts that are coming out, and
Love boats, love bridges.
The thing that
Hope they're both okay.
Big segment for
Haba
you.
girl.
The thing that I was trying to get to with Jimmy Butler, the cameo that he's doing that you're telling me is not even in Bad Boys. It's just part of the marketing for Bad Boys. There was a time in South Florida where if Ace Ventura was in town, there was only one athlete to get. You would get Dan Marino. And while Amin has been telling us that Jimmy Butler is a superstar since he got here, what's happened in Miami that makes him the athlete they go to when Bad Boys is in town, and I'm seeing Messi in a commercial speaking English. Nobody's heard him speak
First
English.
time we've ever heard that.
Well, I don't think I think he did a lot of practice for those couple of words.
Maybe
I
some
don't,
PEDs too.
I don't think he knows English. I think
He's used to doing that.
I think he just did it to bring Will Smith back. But I did not have him becoming this kind of superstar in this market that would be that representative of this market, because there haven't been many athletes who get to play the cameos on behalf of Miami where you're saying, oh, Will Smith, he's so powerful. He can get Jimmy Butler and Messi to come do his movie. You have now Pompey, forgive me because I don't know,
Keith Pompey.
Pompey on Sixers reporting that
His name's Keith.
thank you. The 76ers are willing to give Jimmy Butler the full max if they land him. This is credible reporting. I assume, as with many leaks involving the Sixers, that this is coming from Daryl Morey, because there's some very strategic placement of Jimmy Butler news that comes from some places that always makes me assume it's Daryl Morey trying to see if he can get in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes. But I wanted to hand the floor to Izzy Gutierrez and our experts here on what you make of this making an appearance.
Well, if you're going to give me
now.
the floor, question for you. Are you saying that Jimmy Butler and Leo Messi are the same level of fame?
I'm just
In
saying
Miami,
that right
though.
now in Miami, you've got those two, and if Messi hadn't been here, Jimmy Butler was the only one you could go to.
And Charlotte, you might be impressed by this also. I live near Leo Messi.
I'm very
He is
impressed.
effectively my neighbor.
Wait a minute.
What do you mean
effectively?
I say effectively because I live in a condo community. Literally, the very next guard gate entrance is where Leo lives.
I was
have
hoping you were going to say he lived on a boat.
No, I have taken my boat by his house, and I've seen his boat. I've actually seen him playing soccer with his kid, but I try to look the other way. I don't be like I don't want to look at him, Louis. But ever since people got wind of him living there are just fans who camp out, post up, camp out right in front of the community. Wow. They have no idea what kind of car he drives because I see them and they look into every expensive car, and they just spend hours hoping that he rolls down his window and maybe signs something. I don't think that's happening around Jimmy Butler's house.
It must have been a relief to get them away from your house.
Well, the funny part is the first guy I saw was in front of our place. Wow. And I was like, what is this guy doing? And because he was filming a video, and then I saw he was wearing an Argentina shirt, and I was like, wow, it has begun. This is going to start. There was 3 people there just yesterday, right? Yesterday's when they played Atlanta. There were 3 people there the day before yesterday all day long. Clearly never got to see him there from noon until 8 p.m. Failures.
Makes you a bit sad, right? When
so sad.
Yeah.
I want to go give them some food.
You should sign the jersey.
Tell them that you're Messi.
I
Who
don't
is that?
think that will work.
Messi.
Who is Messi?
Tell them
like
you're
a
a
new
meze
pasta?
platter.
Charlotte, what's going on with you?
What's going on with Charlotte?
You
You
asked me as if this is surprising.
Just got a point.
Izzy, Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
I keep trying to get to this, and the
Second most
whole
famous
the
athlete
whole
down here.
show is playing defense against. I've been for 20 minutes. I've been trying to get to the Sixers are reportedly making a play for Jimmy Butler.
Didn't that end horribly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Why would he go back?
No, he would only go back for Joel Embiid. He wouldn't go back for that general manager who James Harden had cursed up and down. He wouldn't go back for that team. The time I knew Jimmy Butler was going to leave Philadelphia, he was going out at for halftime. He was leaving the locker room, and it was a late season game. He's looking at the stat sheet. He just kind of didn't really crumple it up, just grabs it between 2 fingers, throws it up in the air, and says, hey, let's go 76ers, in a very sarcastic voice, and walks through the tunnel out on the floor. It just didn't seem like it's for him. I'm with you, Donis. I don't think that dude's going anywhere. This is all just negotiating. This was all public stuff that Dwayne Wade did with Pat Riley. He knows how to coach him through this. I don't think it's going to end the same. I don't think it's going to end with with Jimmy leaving the way Dwayne did, but he knows publicly he's got to at least ask for what he wants.
Yeah, I think the big issue is the amount of money that Jimmy wants, because this all starts from Jimmy wants an extension on his current Miami contract, and he wants it to be of the maximum variety, right? And we know his games played in the last 4 years has been less than ideal for this franchise, and we know his age is not exactly spring chicken territory. 5 years ago, you guys were like, he's 32 and he's got a lot of miles on him. Well, now it's like or however old he was at that time. Now we really have entered that stage where it's like, no, he's of age and he's got a lot of miles on him. And to commit that kind of money for a team that's also still trying to find another thing for them here in Miami, like I could see the trepidation there. So Jimmy and his agent, they've got to find somewhere that is willing to give them this money. And by the way, that's how they got out of Philly. But that's how they got out of Minnesota, which is send us to a place that's willing to give us the money. And when they got to Philly, then things happen, and it's like, well, Miami all along has been trying to acquire him. So once it was apparent that Philadelphia was going to go in a different direction with the money they were going to pay, it's like, okay, we're going to orchestrate this move down to Miami. And the rest, as they say, is history. So, Izzy, you're right. But I would say also, they'll make a mess and go.
Absolutely,
if
because they don't have the same relationship with Jimmy as they do with Dwayne, right? Because Dwayne has been there from the beginning. I don't know about you. I feel this heat on the back of my neck, and I feel like Jeremy just has to say something.
Jeremy's
Maybe
breath.
it's his breath.
Yes, it's Jeremy's
I think
breath.
it started when you said our experts are here, and I felt like a big fire burned behind me because
the
he's
air
always
breaks
back
a
there.
lot too, though.
Jimmy and Riley and Spo have lived in sort of this confrontational space since the day that he arrived, because those three all thrive off of confrontation. When you're dealing with this contract extension, we've mentioned before, everyone sort of positions it as a 2-year, $120 million contract extension, which technically it would be, but it would also buy him out of a year of a player option. And so the initial reaction here was, well, do you try to force Jimmy to play through this year? Because if he plays very well, he can then opt out, be a free agent, and you could sign him to that sweetheart deal to end his career at whatever the max is because he's still showing it for you. Or he could opt out and go somewhere else, but at least he's played his best basketball. I think that's sort of what the Heat have looked at here is like, we can put Jimmy in the position to have to play these games and to have to play well. But if there are other teams around the NBA that are publicly saying, or at least through leaks, we'll give you the extension, it's just to put some pressure on Miami to do it today.
Well, yes. Also, though, like Jimmy, for leverage, needs a place that if Miami says no, if they call his bluff and say no, go for it, he will go. Because otherwise he has nothing. Like in Philly with Embiid there, they're very close. They, played together. We saw that work in various ways to certain extents. That's
there were a
something
lot of qualifiers there. Like you
well,
really,
because
like, we did
Philly
see it
has,
work. It worked.
They worked, but
it's further than it's closer than Joel Embiid has ever been to the championship.
She's doing the sports thing where, like, if she says it works, well, how many championships did they win, Charlotte?
Did they go to the Eastern Conference Finals?
No, they lost in a Game 7. Sounds like they choked. Sounds like it didn't work at all.
Sounds like it didn't work, but it did work. And Jimmy would be happy to be there if he can't, because he wants the money. And if Miami's not going to give him the money.
Does he?
And Philly, does he want the money?
Does he want the money more than he wants to finish the deal? He's got to win a championship. Remember, this is the last place LeBron didn't take a max, was here. Why? Because they had built what was obviously a championship team. Jimmy and the Heat have to be on the same page where they say, hey, listen, if we can get you Donovan Mitchell without losing Bam or you, and it means you have to take 47, 46, you got to do it, man, because otherwise it all falls apart.
But that's like you're gonna give me Donovan Mitchell, right? This is the calculon. I can guarantee you an Oscar. Like I can guarantee you anything, right? Like so the whole idea is sure, get me Donovan Mitchell and then we can talk. But without that
scenarios,
without that happening, right? You've got to create the leverage, realistic leverage, and the reason why Philly is realistic leverage is because they have the cap space. The only guys they have under contract are Embiid. I think Maxey, they got a cap hold for him, but we're going to get him a new deal. And then maybe Paul Reed. Paul Reed has a non-guaranteed deal, right? But then B, if we say, hey, Maxey, Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid, are those the building blocks for a championship team? Yeah, kind of. Like, that makes a lot of sense. It's especially Jimmy's ability to not only be the man, so to speak, down the stretch, but also take a step back and let the other guys do their thing, which he likes to do as well. So all of those things make Philly a very interesting. And obviously, there's a relationship, as Charlotte said, between Embiid and Jimmy Butler. They've never stopped liking each other. They've never stopped, even when they were going through their stuff. Like Jimmy's still messing around with Embiid on the side over here. So all of these things, I don't think it's a bluff. I think this is a very real contingency plan, but it's all contingent on a lot of different things.
But contingency plan for everybody, because I would say they're not going to lose Jimmy Butler without knowing what they're replacing him with.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just, this is now, out, it's in front of everybody. No, not Tobias Harris, Charlotte.
What?
I can't wait for him to sign somewhere, man. He's going to get somewhere, and everyone's going to be like, oh, you guys got Tobias Harris, he sucks, and he's going to be playing for minimum, and then, like, midway through the year, you know who was a great pickup? It was Tobias Harris, because
No. Charlotte cannot do this. Charlotte.
What?
You took him on a Tobias Harris tangent. You've already been taking over the show in your own little element.
Yes.
Do not take a mean with you.
Getting back to what Jeremy was saying about thriving in confrontation, because that sounds like something, but I want to explain to you from Michael Carter Williams what that actually looks like. So when he says that Jimmy Butler likes confrontation with Spo and Riley, listen to the story that Michael Carter Williams tells about confrontation between Jimmy Butler and Fred Hoiberg in Chicago.
The craziest season I've ever been a part of was Chicago. I love Jimmy. Jimmy's a great dude, but this is crazy, bro. Our locker room was bad, bro. Like we know it was right in the beginning of the year too. Everybody was pissed off, like upset. Like Jimmy wasn't getting along with Coach Hoiberg. Like, so we had a team meeting early. But last game, the refs were terrible. Like Jimmy got a tech, like somebody else got a tech. I think even Taj Gibson got a tech. Jimmy was upset, right, that Coach Hoiberg ain't get a tech. Coach Hoiberg is like, Jimmy, like this starts with me and you, like, what's going on? And then Jimmy goes, well, 1, I think you're soft. 2, I don't like you. And he didn't even get to 3. And Coach Hoiberg was like, well, then fuck you, Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, it's fuck me now. You wanted to know what I want? You wanted to know how I felt. That's how the meeting started, bro. And I'm sitting over in the corner. I'm like, yo, I've never heard this in my entire life.
Is that the Wade, Rondo, Butler team that everybody hated each other on that team? How common is that, Amin?
How common is it for a player to directly tell the coach, I don't like you?
You're soft and I don't like you.
I won't say it's uncommon, but I also won't say like it happens all the time. Like that's an unusually direct way. And you got to understand, this is, I think, Fred Hoiberg's second year.
That was not helpful at all, by the way.
Oh,
it wasn't
really expertise.
Well, no, I mean, like what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that's the only time it's ever happened, and I'm not saying it happens every single year, every locker room.
I know, but I asked for your expertise, not a
that's
bunch
my
of
expertise. My expertise is it's not rare and it's not commonplace. It's somewhere in the middle.
It happened here. Didn't Shaq try to go at Pat Riley, and Alonzo Mourning had to get in the way?
Yeah.
And that was him on the way out?
And that was Uncle Jerome's famous line, well, I'm going to go pack my bags. He's like, why? It's like, we're not going to be here much longer. And that's how me and Shaq became best friends.
I have told Pat Riley that I don't believe him when he says that he and Alonzo Mourning would get face-to-face screaming at each other, and that Riley would say that he was fine with someone saying fuck you to him as long as you were teaching him something.
You don't believe that?
I don't believe he's quite fine with the amount of disrespect that we're talking about when you're telling a coach, your employer, I don't like you, and you're soft.
Well,
that's what the Keebler Elf said to the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Also, I don't think Jimmy screamed it. But I love the idea of someone coming up to Pat Riley and saying, hey, Pat, if you fucking square the one leg of a right angle triangle and the other's leg of a right angle triangle, that equals to the square of the hypotenuse, motherfucker, go fuck yourself. And Pat's like, Pythagorean theorem. I like it.
Yeah, what is he learning?
Billy, why did you make that face at Charlotte? Charlotte seems to be hitting a few different notes than we're used to around here. Charlotte came in. I've got to say, I was very happy to see her, at least in part, because something that never happens around here. Charlotte comes in here and she says, oh, that's a very nice wallet. And when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself,
it was.
Play the sound, please.
People have, play
Look
what
at
sound?
me, Louie.
Look at me, Louie.
You guys have done nothing but mock my wallet.
I don't think I've seen your wallet. Where's your
Anytime,
wallet?
no,
I
but
don't
I've
know what
had
your wallet looks like.
You have one of those wallets from IG that you push a button. and
Let's
it
see your
comes
wallet,
up.
Dan. Show us your wallet, Dan.
No, because Dan has cash, so his wallet's like Costanza's. It's like this.
You
big.
guys have been mocking me
Look at
for
it.
being the
a little
user
purse.
of a wallet because you say nobody does this anymore. This has never gotten a compliment.
Is it
This-
bedazzled? What is
I
that thing
have
on
to-
the end of it?
It's a
Does it have
Mont
a
Blanc.
button?
It's one of the fancy pen wallets.
You don't put that
even
in your
know
back
what that
pocket,
is.
do you, Dan?
I don't know.
Your
what
hips
that
are out of
is.
line, right, Dan?
That's why he's like
Mont
this
Blanc
all
sounds
the
like
time.
water to me. Spring water.
Again, Charlotte.
Do you have
brings-
another phone in there?
Charlotte brings in a compliment and sunshine, and as I bring up her story, look at what you guys bury me in to illustrate the point that anytime anything of mine is out in front of people, it's just mockery. So I'm happy to see her sunshine right up until she does Keebler Elf stuff that all of us are looking at her on.
When Charlotte passes away, she's gonna get a reaction like Bill Walton.
I was gonna say we should do Charlotte's funeral now because Charlotte. Well, I mean, it's a bit more. It's a bit morbid.
Kill
but
Charlotte.
She's very but we were talked about this earlier. She's very nice. She came in. She was very complimentary. She was like really nice to me. She's like, "It's so good to see you."
Yeah.
And I actually said to her, I go, someone's being nice to me.
How about
It's
that?
weird,
What
right?
a change.
It's weird.
And then I immediately said after, maybe I shouldn't be so mean to other people, and then more people.
Wow,
Would be
see?
nice.
Wow.
Incredible.
but-
Impacting the people around
Exactly
you,
right.
just like Bill Walton did.
No, come on. You're making me blush. Why are you doing this?
Genesis, who works on the mashing of human bodies around here for
Genesis,
healing, said yesterday that we have an abnormally tight group of people, that they are all filled with stress.
Close-knit.
And it might be because there's not enough Charlotte sunshine around here, because this place does not exist on compliments. And I would say, I've been saying all my life that among guys, insults are the language of intimacy. So what
Charlotte's
happens-
got you fooled, Dan. Charlotte and Billy have this connection. It's because they're both evil cats.
Dog.
They're
I'm a
both
dog,
instigators.
first of all.
He just happens to be a black cat where maybe it's a little bit more
dog.
noticeable, and she's just this super fluffy cat that everybody loves, but it's just kind of kicking stuff off the table.
I knew you saw me, Izzy.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I see Billy make a face because she's made a Keebler Elf reference where Billy's like, what? And I'm looking at Billy's
Pillsbury
face.
Doughboy and Keebler Elf, same reference.
Well,
it's
she's
a joke.
got the two eating each other, apparently, because the Keebler
yeah.
Elf says, I don't like you and you're soft. And so I'm thinking, oh, am I supposed to eat the big marshmallow? I thought it was a mascot.
No. It's that they're rivals.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't
he
like
says,
each
I
other.
don't like you and you're soft because of Pillsbury Doughboy. He's
Yeah.
dough, so it's
and you
soft.
and you do the woohoo.
Yeah.
That's a tummy thing because it's actually soft. It's a soft mascot, but
Right.
they're rivals, so they don't
Yeah,
like each
yeah.
other.
Just
it's
like
a
Fred
layered
Hoiberg.
joke.
Isn't
Yeah.
that also the Michelin Man?
No,
No,
because
you-
he's tires.
Yeah, he's tires, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is another one. But in the Michelin Man kind of same
Stay
body
Puft
type.
Marshmallow?
Yeah, Stay Puft
Yeah,
Marshmallow Man.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. The Michelin Man is not a soft.
No, it's
tall
a tire.
Made of
I
tires.
But
thought
he's
he was-
white.
But it's white and it just
Yeah.
looks like fluffy. It looks
White
like I want
tires.
to eat him.
Put
Yeah,
it on
wires.
the
walls.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Lebitard Show. The Michelin Man, is he soft or is he hard?
What kind of question is that, Dan?
Let's ask Greg Cody.
You sure, Dan?
Poll question.
Stiff
yes.
tire syndrome.
Erection year.
Baby.
Can you guys give me the Jimmy Butler prediction? Like, what do you believe is going to happen here? As Udonis is on First Take and Magic Johnson is saying, ESPN, you got to hire Udonis. He's great at everything. Udonis is saying there's no way LeBron's leaving in L.A., and he's saying that Jimmy Butler's not leaving Miami. Thoughts?
Can we shout out Udonis for being a double dipper? He's on Turner one night, he's on ESPN the other. Way to play it, buddy. See you on Amazon next year.
ABW always be working.
I think Miami is going to get their whatever super team version of Jimmy Butler that they wanted. It's just they've swung a couple of times and missed. This is going to be the offseason where they get it. They're best positioned for it.
Whale watching is back.
Oh. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
No,
Charlotte, when the show swings to you, you have to have a coherent
Well,
thought
the whale,
spoken into the
whale
microphone.
watching, I was like, oh, that's funny. That's
When the show swings to you, Charlotte, you have to speak into the microphone.
I do not think LeBron will leave LA, and I think it was very clear because Bronny is only taking 2 visits with Los Angeles and with the Suns, and there is no way LeBron is taking minimum with the Suns. We talked about this on Oddball every day but Monday.
Put this on the screen, this image right now, because I didn't know there was a black Keebler Elf.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Did you know there was a black Keebler Elf? Also, please, Charlotte, please help me do the show. I usually try to underpromise and overdeliver, but I will tell you that the sporting class that David Samson does with John Skipper and Pablo Torre has more good sports business information per square inch than anyone doing it anywhere that I have heard. If you really want some expertise on what's happening in business, he also has his own podcast. The Sporting Class is coming out tomorrow with John Skipper, David Samson, and Pablo Torre. And you guys have covered the NBA rights fiasco here for a while, and I want to ask you some specific questions, but I also urge the audience to go to Nothing Personal, the podcast he does live and daily at 8 a.m. every day on DraftKings Network. So I want to ask you specifically, though, about the mess that they have on their hands where TNT, initially, the CEO of everything that's being run over there, said don't need to have the basketball rights. And now everyone's fighting for the basketball rights, and Charles Barkley is calling his bosses fools for not solidifying this. Can you tell me a short answer, or as much as you can, given how much we're talking about here, what has been botched the most, and are you at all surprised that basketball with declining ratings is going to get a giant number?
You are going to love the show that we release tomorrow. So I'll try to really sum this up in 60 seconds and tell you, I, for one, don't think that Turner has botched this at all. I think when he told his investors that he didn't need the NBA, he was serious and he was right. And I think that Adam Silver has played it just fine. They've got plenty of bidders. They'll have a package with NBC, Amazon, and ESPN. And Charles Barkley is going to be fine as well. I appreciate that he's upset having to change networks, but I also assure you it's all going to work out for him as a free agent. So all of the negativity around basketball leaving Turner, it will disappear within moments of hearing the music at NBC. So I think this is truly much ado about nothing.
Really? So you're telling me that there was nothing botched here in the losing of basketball?
We had quite an argument on Sporting Class. No, remember, he answers to investors. We're talking about David Zaslav. We're talking about Warner Brothers Discovery. We're talking about a company with a huge amount of debt, crippling debt. We're talking about a package that may not actually make money. We're talking about the ability to get out of deals that were huge deals signed with the inside of the NBA crew. We're talking about share price that has been stagnant. We're talking about a much bigger business than the NBA, and that is Warner Brothers Discovery. So he is the chairman of all of it, not just Turner Sports.
Without spoiling what it is that you guys did for tomorrow, because I didn't know that a huge argument broke out, you are voicing something I have not heard. Is it about that? Is it about you saying that this is of no harm to TNT, which doesn't have anything like this on its menu?
Yes, this is it. And we also talk about ratings, where you spend a lot of time on your show, as do so many other people, talking about where the ratings are and are they up and are they down. And we try to uncover the truth behind ratings, which is no one actually cares when they're about to write a check or selling the rights to their league. Ratings never come up in negotiations.
You have mentioned that before, and the TV rights deals are what's funding everything in sports. I thought that the reason that Mark Cuban got out, Mark Cuban, who's got a great love of basketball and has a great instinct for financial things and what the future will look like, I thought the reason that he got out on this thing that he most loves is because Luka's now up for $350 million. Kyrie's up for 200 something else million on max deals. And he's saying to himself, this isn't sustainable. I'm getting out before the next rights deal. And now I see dollars with this rights deal that I was not expecting.
Yeah, Mark Cuban knew very well what the rights deals would be going forward when he made this deal. As a matter of fact, the valuation for the Mavericks was based upon what the revenue would be coming to each of the NBA teams. He is no fool. I think that it's far more about estate planning, but I don't want to get too far into that. But a lot of owners sell teams for estate planning purposes. And Cuban was not taken by surprise, nor was any owner. In baseball, we were directed years in advance what the new TV deals would be, because we do projections for payrolls based on what revenue would be coming from the league.
You have said before around here that ratings don't matter. Just for the audience, can you explain why it is that this does not matter?
Because what companies do when they are trying to acquire content, they are trying to justify subscription revenue. Back in the days of cable with regional sports networks, you had to get people to subscribe to your, whether it's Spectrum or Optimum, pick a cable company. And what you did is you would pay $9 a month and you would get a channel, or $50 a month and you would get a tier of channels. And these channels had to be on cable, and the cable company needed to buy these channels, and the channels needed to buy the content. Do you get it? All the revenue was flowing upstream. Nobody talked when we did a Marlins TV deal. Hey, do you know only 20,000 people watch your games? What Fox said to us, or Cablevision, is we need something on Fox Sports Florida, and we're willing to pay you blank based on the amount of subscribers who have Fox Sports Florida. And the reason the regional sports networks went bankrupt is that all of a sudden people were cutting the cord. They were only paying for what they want. And when you do that, there's not enough money to spread around. That's why the entire TV landscape has changed. And that's why a la carte has happened. But the irony, which we love to talk about, is that now they're bundling everywhere again, where if you get Hulu or Disney, or you can get Max also, and you're combining all of these networks. So it's really quite funny. We talk about that tomorrow too.
So David, do we have enough of an idea? Power through that one. Do we have enough of an idea of where the revenue is going to come from, so that this is just another TV rights deal? Or is it something that this is more significant than that? Because right now it seems to me that if they weren't losing Turner, not too many people would be talking about this.
I think it's more because of inside the NBA. I try to remind people that David Letterman moved from NBC to CBS, and people were shocked at that, but it was the end of a contract, and NBC didn't want to pay the price, and he didn't get the job he wanted. There's a whole show about the late night wars, but he ends up on CBS and keeps going, and everything's fine. There was a time when the football NFL changed networks, and it ends up being just fine. People will be used to finding the Sunday night game on NBC. They'll be used to the new announcers, maybe coming back some of the old announcers. I really don't think Adam Silver even gave this a thought. And there's a lot of talk about he's angry with Turner for saying we don't need the NBA. That's all horse hockey. It's all based on what the bids are and what is in the best interest of the NBA. And they want games on NBC.
Can you explain to me when you say that everyone's overbidding, that it's very possible that none of them will make their money back, that it'll be a losing money proposition? Can you explain to me why that's okay?
It's only okay when you don't have an asset and you decide to overbid to get the asset. And then you live with it for a while and you say, wow, the shine is gone. The juice is no longer worth the squeeze. You've seen networks lose money. Fox is a great example when they got into the NFL. It was an absolute money-losing proposition, but it was like a loss leader to build up their network, to bring attention to The Simpsons, frankly. And eventually it worked, and then they're able to allocate revenue to make different deals look okay. Turner said to themselves, there's no way to put lipstick on the pig anymore. We're losing money on this deal. Or what was it, Dan? Breast enhancements on a corpse?
Yeah, that's what I called. Yeah, that's what I called.
That's what you called me.
Not you. I called the Pudge Rodriguez signing that eventually led to.
And then he held that ball up, Dano. And then what?
That's
Don't
right.
you look foolish?
Right here, like
What a rat.
Yes,
Would you have used that expression in today's world?
I don't know. It's pretty funny.
It was very funny. I just think
Play
you
on
don't
for
have
me.
the guts to have used it today.
Well, I mean, why not? It was a really epically bad prediction to say the signing of Pudge Rodriguez was like putting breast implants on a corpse and then watch you win the World Series. Like
It's about as bad as it gets, Dan.
And that's not a great moment for me. And yes, Tony, with Pudge Rodriguez holding the baseball as JT Snow has collided into him.
Like an implant, he held it.
No. What?
It was like that.
No.
I've never held an implant, but I'm pretty sure no.
No.
I mean, it's more squishy, but
No.
where were we?
No.
Dumpster fire. Did you copy my word of the day, your graphics people, today?
I did not. What is dumpster fire? Why do you make your word of the day on nothing personal more than one word?
because today it had to be about the Mets. I had to use dumpster fire, and I'm watching your show live this morning because that's the best way to watch you is live. But you can catch yourself on DraftKings Network starting at 11 after Nothing Personal. And you had a graphic saying the Mets are a dumpster fire, and that was my show for 25 minutes this morning.
Well, we did talk about the Mets a lot. What were your most interesting observations from everything happening there? You're delighting in this happening to Steve Cohen. You're a hater. You're look at you. Look how happy you are. Don't you can't. What,
he's beaming,
look
Dan.
at him. He's radiant. He's post-coital. Look at him. It's unbelievable. What are you doing?
Post-coital, I cry.
You're what?
And apologize.
Every time?
Sorry. So bad and short. I'm old.
Just put it on the poll. Are you surprised that David Samson cries after sex?
I'm sorry I went so hard on those implants.
The reason why I am glowing is that everything that happened to Steve Cohen yesterday that you all are going to talk about on all of your shows, none of it actually matters to him. The worst part about yesterday is that his whole casino effort called Metropolitan Park in New York City, near the chop shops, near his ballpark, it got screwed. And that's what's bothering him the most today. Not Lopez or Alonso or Diaz with his phantom BS injury. His huge multi-billion-dollar deal is going to be flushed down the toilet by a state senator named Jessica Ramos.
Look at how happy you are. You're so happy that this is failing. You are such a radiant hater.
No, I'm just a radiant pragmatist. I think that I don't like the press conferences where, hey, we have a done deal here, and they just the onus just does it. Owners do it all the time. I did it in Montreal. That's how I know about it. You hold a press conference to say that something's going to happen when you're not sure that it's actually going to happen, but you want to fake it till you make it. And then you realize, uh-oh, we're not going to make it.
When you said I'm so short, was that a triple entendre?
I try to do things always in triple entendre. Thank you, Izzy, for being here.
Yeah, short and old is how he described his penis. That's how I heard it. The Mets, that's what you found most interesting, though, of everything that happened yesterday? Because they demote Jorge Lopez. I don't know what your rules are for.
They designated him. They didn't demote him. Designated for assignment. That means he either has to be traded, released, or waived after a period of time.
What's that correction? What's that correction?
Did he go to a lower level or no?
No, not necessarily. And he still will get paid his guaranteed deal. But anyway, go ahead.
No, well, what did you make of it? He throws his glove into the stands and then in his second language says a bunch of stuff that required clarifications that were not very helpful in clarifying.
I just wanted to know where the translator was. It's CBA requires the translator to be there. Maybe he or she was with Diaz at the time, but you cannot let Lopez speak to the media without the translator there, getting the clarification, making it clear, and doing it again for clarification in English doesn't count. I want it said in Spanish first language because then I want to designate him.
And then what, though? How does an organization handle all of that? The throwing of the glove into the stands. Some players can get away with that. Not this one.
Yeah, you have to be way better, and you have to have a longer-term contract. You have to be paid way more money. You know, we let certain players get away with more based on their salary and based on their performance on the field. Lopez, definitely not worth it. We would go in to meet the manager. We'd tell the manager what we were doing. We'd call the owner, tell him what we were doing, and then we'd meet the player and designate him immediately.
Two women are suing Jacksonville kicker Brandon McManus, and they are alleging that he sexually assaulted them during the team's overseas flight to London. These are documents obtained by ESPN. What can you tell me about charter flights, how to protect flight attendants, how to avoid everything that happened here?
There's a rule in baseball when I got into baseball that the front office does not walk to the back of the plane. And I violated that rule and I changed it. And I wanted the front office. I would do laps on team charters. I knew that Randy Choate had a briefcase with alcohol when we didn't allow alcohol. I knew the gambling that was going on. I knew everything that was going on back there at the back of planes. And there is stuff that goes on. And the reason why I wanted to be a part of it is I never wanted there to be issues like that because it's very much like a fraternity. Some after a loss, after a win, it doesn't matter. When you're on the team plane, no one would know the difference, whether it's an overnight flight or not. There is a lot of action going on, and there's different sections of the plane. There's places where players sleep. There's places where players play, and everybody knows which section is which. This is very normal and common. And so I would like those things not to happen, and I would try to protect them from happening. And we would speak to the flight attendants in advance. We'd speak to the players in advance to avoid these situations, to explain what is respectful behavior, what we expect from them. And we did not have an issue with that with the Marlins or the Expos, and I'm thankful, but we would take it very seriously if we did.
What is the movie that you're reviewing for us this week?
Can we talk about Civil War? Tell me that somebody has seen that in the container.
I have not seen it. Mike Ryan saw it and wasn't a huge fan. I am a fan of most things that A24 does, and I was told that this was exceptional. I was told that it was a good movie for our times, but I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, I found it to be mediocre. I love Kirsten Dunst. I do love A24 movies. The concept of the movie is that 2 states, maybe 3, you can guess which, have decided that succession is the way to go. Succession is the way to go, and there's a war. It's what everybody says could be coming. It's why people buy canned peas right now. And it's really, from a journalist standpoint, how do you chronicle a war that is on your soil, and what impact does it have? And I found it to be overbearing, overwhelming. I found it to be sad, but not scary. I found it to be so out of this world that I didn't think it was even possible. Well, the message of the movie is, look out, folks. We're heading this way, and we're heading there now. I felt like they could have done way better script, a better ability to tell the story. And all I could do while watching the movie was say they really missed an opportunity. And I don't know if we have time. I don't know what the time is, but I came up with a top 5 list about the movie, though.
All right, let's do it. What is the top 5 list? What is the subject matter?
Billy, I got a top 5 for you.
Okay.
And it's a funny one. It's the top 5 laws that cease to exist in a dystopian society in the midst of a civil war.
One of your greatest fears, right? Lawlessness in a utopian society where you, old and short and crying after sex, have to fight for yourself.
David, would you just want to die in that instance to not have to deal with all of that?
I would go into my safe room and I'd have enough supplies for it to pass.
Wait, hold on a second. How long could you survive in your safe room?
Oh, for so long.
Really?
Yeah, weeks.
It's not that long.
More.
Yeah, weeks isn't that long. If the world's over, they're not going to rebuild it in a couple of weeks.
Well, no one's coming after me. No one's going to hang out for weeks waiting for me to come out. I just needed to pass my doorstep. Keep in mind, I'm not there waiting for the nuclear winter to end.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, please. Would you prefer to have a boat or a safe room in times of dystopian nature?
We know the answer to that.
We've got 60 seconds left. You got to bang through these. Number 5.
Polygamy. Marry whoever you want, however many people you want. Number 4, the antitrust exemption for Major League Baseball.
Just above polygamy?
3, larceny. Take whatever you want. 2, the waiting period for guns. Gone.
I don't understand this
Strange
list.
top 5 list.
World's over. Last thing I want is more wives.
The number 1 thing, law that you do not have to obey in a civil war, traffic lights.
I'm so confused as to why it's specifically a civil war and why is baseball still happening.
What a strange list right here.
Antitrust laws? What?
It's the apocalypse. I need more wives. I need more guns. And hey,
I
what
wanna
are
run
we
red
doing?
lights.
What are we doing about that baseball antitrust exemption? See you later, Samson. Tony, 10 seconds or less. What's the video we're about to throw into?
Dano, I went over to Las Vegas. Friends of the show, Chris Palmieri, has Naked City Pizza. He named a Cuban sandwich after me. It was a Tende Tony, and here it is.
What's up, everybody? We're Tende Tony here in Las Vegas at Naked City Pizza for the return of Let's Eat. Finally, we are back. We're going to talk to Chris Palmieri, owner, operator, Buffalo Style Pizza. Let's go check it out. We're inside of the office bar right next to Naked City Pizza with the man himself, Chris Palmieri. Chris, big fan of the show. Thank you for letting me come out. Buffalo Style Pizza, what is it?
So we bake them off in a pan. Ours are all squares, so it's a little bit thicker, but not like New York then, and definitely not Chicago deep dish.
So we're gonna make a sandwich.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a pizza.
We should make the 10-day Tony, man.
We're gonna dominate right now.
We're gonna do it all.
Let's go. All right, so we got the black gloves on. We're in the kitchen.
It's official.
It's official now. There's no turning back.
Nope.
I make pizzas at my house.
Okay.
But I need you to teach me to do it the Naked City way, the Buffalo way. I've never made a Buffalo style pizza.
All right.
But we're gonna make it. We're gonna make the Tende Tony. This might be a bestseller here. I don't know.
Never know.
You never know. What the ingredients are gonna be: pepperoni, pineapple, and the secret ingredient, bacon.
All right. You're gonna put your sauce first. That's our Naked City red sauce. You just want to spread it all over. Don't be afraid, man. Just get in there.
A few moments later.
You've seen better pushing skills, huh?
I would have been done in the oven already, but it's all right. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing with the cheese. Mozzarella, actually made in Buffalo. It's kind of, you know what I mean? Just like you're throwing salt on a steak or whatever.
Oh, see, he's got the two-hand action. Oh.
Usually we're making like 10 of these at
The
once.
two-hand action, dude. No wonder.
All right, so now we can go ahead and top it. It's good looking pie so far.
Come on, man.
And then with the pineapple, you don't want to go crazy heavy on this because again, it's gonna, because of the acid and everything and the sugar, it's not gonna let the other stuff brown as much.
One right there, one right here.
And then we always finish all our pizzas before they go in the oven with dry oregano.
The secret ingredient.
Now it's ready to go.
What's the hardest part about making a pizza, like Buffalo style?
The process of making sure you have enough dough 2 days from now and pulling it out at the right time, letting it proof, and so that way you cook it and it's a perfect pizza.
So Chris, this is something that I am very familiar with, the Cuban sandwich. But you're doing it with a special spin. You're doing it on focaccia bread.
Yeah.
Why focaccia bread? Like, what drew you to this?
Something we started about 3 months ago. We worked on our own focaccia recipe. So every day we're baking this bread off, and now we're offering it as like a secret menu for Tony.
The Tende Tony, baby. So we're gonna hit it with the pork
Yeah,
first.
so that's just a roasted pork loin, marinated with some citrus, roasted off. So we're gonna hit it with the ham next.
Oh yeah, dude. Feels like I'm at home in my kitchen right now.
Right.
Like,
That's what it's supposed to
you
feel like.
know,
Naked City, that's what we like this. Now we're gonna go with the Swiss cheese
Okay.
over the ham.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Shredded Swiss cheese.
Yep. So now you got your pickles.
Okay. Bam.
All right. Then your mustard.
Now brown mustard.
Brown mustard is a
love.
favorite of mine. All right.
So we throw that in the same
Yeah.
oven.
Go right in the oven, right in the brick oven.
Did you live in Buffalo? Came over here? Did you grow up in Vegas? Like, what's the reason why you're here?
Lived in Buffalo till I was like 22. Got a job on the Strip, a restaurant and a hotel. They moved me here. Wanted to do something on my own. Being a chef for so long, able to take what I did and turn it into this. And I felt the city needed some more good pizzerias, not just cookie cutter stuff and chain stuff, you know?
All right, Chris, we got the stuff out of the oven.
Yep.
We can't finish the Tende Tony pizza without adding a little bit of Mike's Hot Honey, which is the super secret ingredient. All right, so Buffalo style, we're not cutting it regular.
Yeah,
I
we're
know
not
New
cutting
Haven, you kind of cut it
triangles.
however.
Go right down the middle. Then you're gonna go down the middle on each side of those. So down the middle, and then you're gonna do 2 cuts the other way, kind of a third, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
There you go. Now those are my 2 favorite. You get the
You're a
ones
middle-
with just
you're a
I
middle
like
guy,
the middle.
really?
Not that I don't like the crust. I like the crust too.
I'm a crust guy, so I'm like a corners
Yeah,
guy.
oh, the corner, you get
that's-
4 corners.
That's
so,
to me right there.
yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
And we got the Tende Tony
Yeah,
with
now,
Cuban.
so we gotta cut up your signature sandwich. We'll give everybody a view of that. Here's the key.
Dude, I was literally just about to do that.
You the good focaccia.
It's the crispy.
Yep, you gotta make it nice and crispy on the outside,
Oh.
light, soft on the inside.
All right, let's go eat this.
All right, let's go.
So you were telling me that your brother actually owns a Naked City, a couple.
So we own them all together, but my brother moved out here a little over 10 years ago when we opened this location.
Is it cool to have your brother kind of doing the same thing?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You know, growing up, he worked in pizzerias, stuff like that, but he never was a cook or a chef or anything like that. He was actually a postman. My father was a postman, my aunt, my cousin.
It's a family business.
Yeah, family business wasn't my thing, but he loves coming into restaurants when he comes out to visit, walk to everybody, how's the food, you can talk to anybody, man.
Is that a cool thing to see your dad walk into a place that you've built and be like, man, this is what my sons do. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how happy he was when he used to come visit me on the Strip. Now we brought it back to Buffalo too. So we started it here in Vegas, Buffalo style pizzeria. And then we just opened one in Buffalo last summer. Literally build it from the ground up and then see how happy he is. Like, it's awesome.
You said you're a middle guy. You got to get your middle slice.
I'll let you grab one first.
I'm a corner guy. Right here has been calling on me,
right.
this guy right here. Got a nice little pepperoni. Down the cup pepperoni down. Get a little spice with the hot honey.
A little sweet from the honey.
Mm.
And pineapple.
The real Tende Tony. Here it is.
All right.
Cheers, man. The brown mustard, the focaccia bread, the pork loin, like everything is on the track of Cuban, but still far enough away from it that it provides like a different taste. Dude, everything was excellent. You guys need to come down here, Naked City Pizza in Vegas, institution. Big fan of the show, big fan of yours. Chris, thanks for hanging out, man.
Thanks for coming down.